population. 99% of the 360 million people living in our country are getting vaccinated voluntarily, by choice. So, keeping that in mind, forcing people to get vaccinated is all about putting the gun to the head of 1% of the population that has a 1% chance of getting infected when somebody traveling to this country happens to be in a contagious, non-symptom showing stage of the measles. It is like hitting the illness jackpot. It is the lottery ticket, the golden ticket of getting sick. So that's what we're talking about here. Just, 1% of a 1% of a 1%. The number is infinitesimal. It's so small. You can't even get in the ballpark of this with normal math in terms of, about a quarter. Look, it's very hard for this scenario where a bunch of people start getting sick because of anti-vaxxers. The ratio is so small that it doesn't make sense. Government getting involved in something that involves so little people like this usually involves them making threats against people or opening fire in a public area. That's usually when the government gets involved in something with such small numbers in terms of people involved in a public interest thing. So, now that we've got that perspective, now that we understand kind of where I'm coming from, I want to talk about where I sit on the vaccines. We'll have that when I come back.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com, and you're listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
Okay. I couldn't stay away from you folks long. I missed... So we're talking about vaccines. Now, I want to make something abundantly clear. I don't want there to be any question whatsoever in your minds. I'm going to say it like 8,000 times to get this point to sink in. Okay? You ready? You ready? Here's time number 1. I believe in vaccination. Get your kids vaccinated. It is incredibly stupid not to vaccinate your kids. I believe that you are supporting the baby coffin industry when you don't get your kids vaccinated unless they have a valid medical reason like cancer to avoid vaccination. Get your kids vaccinated, you hippie douche. Your kids will not get autism if they get their shots. Shots do not cause autism. The doctor who said that lied and lost his medical license for being a gigantic douche nozzle. Good, I'm glad we got that out of the way. So I support vaccines, 100%. It's proven science. The reason measles were eradicated in the United States in the year 2000 was because of vaccination. The reason kids in the U.S. don't get polio, have vaccines. The reason kids these days don't get chickenpox or the mumps, hardly ever, vaccination. It is a great thing. Modern science has progressed a lot. We've gotten to the point now to where we don't have to die from stupid crap like measles. If you die from the measles, that's really dumb. That's a dumb thing to let happen. Of all the things in your life, you're like, I could fight a lion. Maybe I could be a stunt daredevil like Evel Knievel and die jumping over a helicopter and like missing it just barely and I get hit. But I think I'm just going to not get a vaccine and die from the measles. It's really rare, but I think that's how I want to go out. Yeah, as unlikely and stupid as that comparison sounds, it's equally stupid not to get vaccinated when there's nothing that would harm you, statistically speaking. The odds of you getting harmed by your vaccine are not as high as your odds of getting sick without it. Modern medicine has helped a lot. It has progressed a great deal. And more importantly, if you believe in any kind of progress or growing as an individual or just being better in general, measles are like the enemy. And when you inject the vaccine, your body reads that virus and learns from it and incorporates the data into your bone marrow, so you can produce antibodies for that virus if you ever come in contact with it. You're essentially like a cyborg learning to fight off an enemy. I mean, vaccines are cool. The way that they work is just awesome. And they last for over a decade, like 15 years they stay in your bone marrow. So you should probably get a booster shot. Absolutely. For most of you listening right now that are like, no, it's been over 10 years. Yeah, get a booster shot. Do that. But having said all of that and called people idiots and douches and all kinds of stuff, I do not want government forcing people to make the right decision here. The 300,000 some odd dumbasses that are listening to Jenny McCarthy on vaccines and think that their kid will be autistic if they give them something that will help them survive life, they're entitled to be stupid. Those people absolutely have the right to be dumb as a box of rocks. That's just the way it is. And so in terms of whether or not people should be forced to do something for their own good, absolutely against that. If you want to chop your own foot off because you think you'd look cool with a peg leg, go for it, dude. I don't care. If you want to body modify your skin on your face, just like remove the skin and put like saran wrap on there because you just think it would be cool to have muscles showing instead of skin, that's fine. I mean, you'd be a freak show, but that's cool. Do you, man? Just you do you. I'm gonna do me and not look at you because that's creepy and weird. But whatever makes you happy, dude. Live your life. And that's kind of how we are on vaccines. I mean, it's forcing people to get vaccines through the government is kind of like that warning label on coffee that says caution, drink may be hot, or drink is incredibly hot. Duh, it's coffee. If you burn yourself with coffee, that's your bad. You knew it was hot. You probably should have used a sippy cup or something because you're dumb. And I mean, it goes on back and forth. Like, don't eat paint chips. Don't drink lead paint. Probably shouldn't sit on a hot stove. Don't put your kid in the microwave. That's bad. Your pet probably wouldn't have fun in a hot oven. I know it's cold, but that's not the answer. Baking fluffy is never correct. No, you cannot sleep on a bed of nails. You're not a Buddhist monk. It goes on and on. I mean, don't touch a cactus. That skunk's not a kitty. Don't pet it, you moron. I mean, we could go through every single example of stupidity, and we probably don't need government laws against these things. I mean, maybe we could have government laws against putting pets in the oven, because that's using force against the pet for no reason. That's a dick move. Don't do that. But in terms of vaccination, you're not using force against someone else. And that seems to be the chief argument here, is that a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, you don't have the right to get my kid sick and my kid will die of the measles because your kid had the measles because, you're a douchebag and didn't get vaccines. And I don't want to get sick because you're a douchebag, you douchebag. And that's generally the only argument I've heard that even remotely tries to do anything intelligible. And Audrey agrees. I don't know if y'all can hear her or not. What do you think? Vaccines? What do you think? She's not going to say anything. Okay. So, look. Okay. So basically, the vaccine argument that people should use force to keep other people from getting sick, I think when you're looking at the 1% chance of contracting the disease, and you're looking at a 1% chance of that 1% chance of dying from it, that level of risk, getting that level, that set the bar there, and be like, okay, here's where we draw the line, and government needs to step in because this 1% is too much, and it's going to go up maybe, possibly, I don't know, but 1%, nah, we can't do that. 1%'s trash. Putting government in charge of mitigating a 1% risk is horrifying. That is the most terrifying thing that somebody could propose. Do you know what has higher than 1% chance risk of fatality or illness or injury? Literally everything you do. Driving, way more than 1% chance. Way more than 1% chance that you'll be in an accident. Should we have government assign us drivers? That's going to be expensive. Should we build trains to every location, be like the Jetsons, and have government put in tubes everywhere to shoot us from one place to another? Sure, tubes would be cool. Do you want to pay the hundreds of trillions, if not gajillion, zillion, dillion dollars, whatever the stupid letter is that comes after? Do you want to pay for that? I don't want to pay for that. That sounds like trash. I don't want to do that. I don't get to keep enough of my paycheck, let alone paying for a mass transit system to mitigate the risk of driving. And driving in the rain? Oh my God, it would be banned. If we're worried about 1% risk, if 1% risk is enough to put the government gun to somebody's head and say, all right, dude, you're going to inject this stuff into you because we say so. Driving would be banned in the rain. In the snow, you guys are screwed. 4 or 5 months, no driving. None at all. Flying in any sort of rain, in any sort of weather event that's not sunny with no wind. Done. Might have to go back to blimps. Oh, goodness. It's just, when you look at all of the things that have a higher mortality risk rate, you are more likely to die from your own fat and sitting on the couch than you are to get the measles in America today. And the idea that there's a huge number of people, a big swath saying, we've got to stop these 300,000 people because they're going to get us all sick in America and vaccines. And it's so dumb. It's so dumb. The chances of them abusing this power are higher than the risk you're trying to get rid of. You are trying to get government to step in on something, and literally they have a higher chance of wrecking your life with that authority than they do of getting hurt by the measles. You have less chance getting hurt by the measles or catching the measles than you do of them not abusing this power. You can guarantee that giving government new power, giving government the authority to do this, is going to absolutely result in stuff getting completely messed up. I mean, just look at anything that government regulates. Anything at all. Look at television. Look at how broadcast law is today. Look at the fact that the Super Bowl is on that's a bad example. Bad example. Look at college football or professional football even. There are some cities, the football team is from that city. And if the stadium tickets don't sell out, the government forces these cities to have the game blocked on local television. So you can't even watch the government-subsidized team that your taxpayers are paying for because you didn't buy a ticket to the stadium. How insane is that? But that's just television. That's just one thing. Do you know everything in television now has to be completely typed up before it goes on the air? New FCC regulation. You got to type everything up because if there's any sort of gap in broadcast, that's a problem for the deaf. And so that small percentage of the population means everybody has to adhere to this new rule. Never mind if most of it's done, or bullet points are done, or if it's a breaking situation where stuff's happening right that second, and you're trying to get this information out, there's danger, blah, blah, blah. You